Imagine discovering one of the oldest universities in the world. Where would you expect to find it? England? Italy? China? Probably not Africa. Now imagine standing before a city with giant stone walls. The walls are so impressive that early European visitors refused to believe Africans had built them. It sounds unbelievable, but it's true. For a very long time, the world was told a different story about Africa. Many people grew up believing that Africa had little history before European colonization, but the truth is very different. Long before European ships reached African shores, great civilizations were already rising. Powerful kings ruled vast kingdoms. Busy cities welcomed traders from distant lands. Scholars filled libraries with thousands of handwritten books. Engineers built remarkable monuments that still stand today. So here's the real question. Why don't more people know these stories? The answer isn't because these civilizations never existed. They did. The problem is that many of their stories were pushed into the background while history focused on other parts of the world. But history is much bigger than that. Africa is the second largest continent on Earth. It is home to deserts, rainforests, mountains, rivers, and thousands of different cultures. It has never been one place with one story. It has always been a continent of incredible diversity. And over thousands of years, that diversity gave rise to some of humanity's greatest civilizations. Some became famous for trade. Others became masters of engineering. Some built powerful armies. Others became centers of learning that attracted students from across the world. Each civilization left its own mark on history, yet many of their names are rarely mentioned outside history books. That's exactly what makes this journey so fascinating, because the deeper you look into Africa's past, the more surprises you find. And perhaps the biggest surprise of all is that Africa's story did not begin with colonization. By the time Europeans arrived, many African civilizations had already been thriving for centuries. Our journey begins in the northeast corner of the continent, along the banks of one of the most famous rivers on Earth, a civilization known around the world for its towering pyramids. But those pyramids tell only a small part of the story, because ancient Egypt didn't just build monuments, it helped shape human civilization itself. And that's where our story begins.
Our journey begins in ancient Egypt. Most people know Egypt for one thing, the pyramids. But Egypt was far more than giant tombs in the desert. It was one of the world's first great civilizations. Its people developed writing. They made remarkable advances in medicine. They designed complex irrigation systems. And they built monuments that still stand after thousands of years. For centuries, Egypt was one of the most powerful kingdoms on Earth. But here's something many people never learn. Egypt wasn't always the one in control. To the south, in what is now Sudan, another great African civilization was rising. It was called the Kingdom of Kush. At first, Kush traded with Egypt. The two kingdoms influenced each other for generations. Then everything changed. Around the 8th century BC, the kings of Kush marched north. They conquered Egypt. For nearly a century, Kushite rulers became the pharaohs of Egypt during what historians call the 25th dynasty. Think about that for a moment. One African kingdom ruled another of the greatest civilizations in history. The Kushites didn't erase Egyptian culture. They preserved many of its traditions while adding their own. They also built impressive pyramids of their own, more than Egypt has today. Yet many people have never even heard the name Kush. And that raises another question. If one forgotten kingdom could rule Egypt, what other powerful African civilizations have been overlooked by history? While Kush was growing in the northeast, another African civilization was becoming a giant on the Mediterranean coast. Its name was Carthage. Located in what is now Tunisia, Carthage began as a small trading city. But it didn't stay small for long. Its ships crossed the Mediterranean. Its merchants traded gold, silver, ivory, and other valuable goods. Before long, Carthage had become one of the richest and most powerful cities in the ancient world. Then it faced a rival, Rome. The two powers fought a series of wars that would decide who controlled the Mediterranean. During one of those wars, a Carthaginian general named Hannibal did something that shocked the ancient world. He marched an army, including war elephants, across the snow-covered Alps to attack Rome. Even today, military historians study his strategy. Although Carthage was eventually defeated, its influence shaped the history of Europe and North Africa for centuries. But Africa's story didn't end there. Far to the east, another kingdom was quietly becoming one of the world's greatest trading empires. Its merchants traded with Rome, Arabia, Persia, and India. Its rulers built towering stone monuments that still stand today, and it would become one of the first kingdoms on earth to officially embrace Christianity. Its name was Aksum, and its story is just as remarkable. The Kingdom of Aksum became one of the greatest trading powers of the ancient world. Its merchants sailed the Red Sea. They traded with Rome, with Arabia, with India. Its rulers built giant stone monuments called stelae. Some still stand more than 1,500 years later. But our next stop may be the most surprising of all. Far to the south, in what is now Zimbabwe, a great stone city rose from the hills. Its name was Great Zimbabwe. Massive stone walls surrounded the city. Some reached more than 10 meters high. And here's the incredible part. The walls were built without mortar. The stones fit together so perfectly that many of them are still standing today. When early European explorers saw the ruins, some refused to believe Africans had built them. Instead, they invented stories claiming the city must have been built by people from somewhere else. But archaeology proved otherwise. Great Zimbabwe was built by African engineers. It was the center of a wealthy kingdom that controlled trade in gold and ivory. Its merchants traded with cities along the East African coast, where goods traveled as far as India and China. The evidence was there all along. The world simply refused to believe it. But there was one kingdom whose wealth became impossible for anyone to ignore. A kingdom so rich that one man's journey changed the price of gold across entire regions. His name was Mansa Musa, and his empire would become legendary. In the 1300s, the Mali Empire was one of the richest places on earth. Its ruler, Mansa Musa, became famous for his pilgrimage to Mecca. He traveled with thousands of people. Camels carried large amounts of gold. Historians believe he gave away so much wealth during the journey that the value of gold dropped in parts of the Middle East for years. But Mali's greatest treasure wasn't just gold, it was knowledge. The city of Timbuktu became one of the world's greatest centers of learning. Its libraries held thousands of handwritten manuscripts on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, law, and religion. Students traveled from across Africa and beyond to study there. At the same time, in West Africa, the Kingdom of Benin was building another remarkable civilization. Its artists created bronze sculptures so detailed that they continue to amaze historians today. Its capital was carefully planned, with wide roads, strong defenses, and an organized government. These civilizations were different. They spoke different languages. They followed different traditions. But together, they tell one powerful story. Africa was never a continent without history. It was a continent of builders, of traders, of scholars, of inventors, of powerful kingdoms that helped shape the world. The problem isn't that these civilizations never existed. The problem is that many of their stories were forgotten, overlooked, or never fully taught. Today, historians and archaeologists continue to uncover new discoveries that deepen our understanding of Africa's past. And perhaps that's the greatest lesson of all. When we learn the full story of human history, we don't just understand Africa better, we understand the world better. So let me ask you, which ancient African civilization surprised you the most? Tell us in the comments below. And if you enjoy documentaries that uncover the hidden stories of history, subscribe to Africa Explained, because Africa's story is far greater than most of us were ever taught.